What's going on, everybody? Josh or Miho here. I hope everybody's doing good and well and stuff. I got an album review to do for you, and I'm going to be talking to you about the new album from the band Exhumed, entitled Necrocracy. This is scheduled to be released on August the 6th through Relapse Records. Now, if you're not too familiar with this band, they are based out of San Jose, California, and the best way to describe the sound of this band would be straight up, gory, bloody, awesome death metal. This has been a band that has pretty much stayed within the death metal reigns over the last, I don't know, almost 20 plus years now. These guys have been around for a good long while, maybe even longer than that. But yeah, at first they had a bit of a gore grind, carcass general surgery kind of style to their sound with their early demos and splits and all that. But then as the 2000s approached, they began to put more emphasis on a death grind type of sound. Um, Early starting with stuff like gore metal, then into the 2000s with stuff like Slaughter Cult and Anatomy is Destiny, where the death grind material started to flow and become a lot more awesome. Just some great music and great material. Then, of course, there was a bit of a break and hiatus from this band, going on 8 years, not excluding the re-regurgitated Garbage Days re-regurgitated covers album. Then in 2011, after 8 years, we have a brand new Exhumed album with All Guts, No Glory. That album kicked so much ass. That is what Exhumed should sound like and should be. I think that's the best album that they've ever done, probably far greater than anything they've ever put out, in my opinion. I love everything they've done, but that album was the peak quintessential Exhumed record. And since that time, I've seen them live 3 times, and every time I've seen them live, they just get better and better and better. The most recent 2 times I've seen them was with the current lineup that was being used for this new album. And I was anxious to see how things were going to turn out. So now it's good that we didn't have to wait 3 years for a new Exhumed record. Not 3 years, 8 years. We didn't have to wait too long for a new Exhumed record, and here we are with Necrocracy, or Necrocracy, or however you say it. I'll stick with how I said it in the beginning. It's 9 tracks, and it clocks in at around 38 minutes in length. And I can safely say that this is probably the most straightforward death metal album that Exhumed have ever done. This isn't anything like the Exhumed of old or the mid to current era of Exhumed where it verged between death metal and grind. This is just a straightforward death metal album. And really, I don't see any kind of problem with that. Exhumed have always been one to create some incredible music and take bold leaps. And I think with this new album, they definitely take a really bold leap. I honestly don't know how it will sit well with everybody, but I still think this is another great record in the Exhumed discography. I really enjoy what I'm hearing with this album. Um, the guitars on here are your usual kind of Exhumed guitars. Very awesome riff work. I'm noticing a lot more emphasis on melodies. That's something that you kind of heard in bits and pieces on the last Exhumed record, but here it's definitely put into more really good use. They brought back the guy who played guitar on the 2003 album Anatomy is Destiny, Bud Burke. He's a great guitar player, and I definitely think his return to the band definitely showcases the kind of melodies and speeds that you would normally expect on an Exhumed record, and I think it's done very well here. Preferably tracks like Coins Upon the Eyes and probably one of the most melody-induced tracks of this entire record, So Passes the Glory of Death. I think that's a great song. There's some incredible songwriting to be heard on that particular track. And it's like that throughout the course of this record. I think the guitar work here is very awesome. And as per usual, the solos are very, very good. These guys know how to shred, and they deliver some incredible guitar work, great riffs, great leads, great solos. It's all here. Bass-wise, the bass here is very good. They got Body Bag Bob, who I believe used to play in Gravehill, which is funny because Matt Harvey of Exhumed also played in Grave Hill at one point. They brought him along for the record, and he definitely can play a bass guitar incredibly well. He does it very well and good justice here. Very audible, great bass playing, nice. It kind of feels like you can hear him pick the bass very well here, and his bass guitar definitely showcases itself throughout the record. It's very nice and clear. Um, Even to later tracks like the title track and Sickened, I think you hear some pretty good quality bass work going on with those particular tracks. I think it's pretty damn cool. Now we get to the drums. Of course, earlier I reviewed the new Deeds of Flesh record, and Mike Hamilton drums for that band, and he kicks ass with that band. Um, but now they have Mike Hamilton play drums for Exhumed. I've seen him play with Exhumed twice, and he kicks ass every single time. But on this record, I kind of feel as if it's stepping back just a little bit, because on the last record, All Guts No Glory, you heard Danny Walker play the shit out of those drums so mind-numbingly fast, so crazy, so chaotic, so heavy, so powerful. That was probably one of the best drum performances I've ever heard him do, especially for death metal. But now we get a seasoned veteran of death metal like Mike Hamilton behind the drums. And he does some incredible drum work here too, don't get me wrong. But it seems to be less fast-paced, a little bit more on the mid-pace side. There's some really heavy, fast moments to be heard, but mainly you get some pretty good paced drum work. You get some awesome blast beats, great double bass work, nice fills and rolls. The way the drums are done on this record are done very well. I really enjoy the way that the drums are played. There's obviously a little bit of a step back when it comes to speed. It just maintains being straightforward, no fast or flashy gimmickry going on. It's just a straight out death metal kind of drum performance, and Mike Hamilton does some great drum work here on this album. Now we get on to the vocals. Of course, if you're an Exhumed fan, you get two kinds of vocals. You get very raspy, high-pitched screams and wails, and then you get to the undecipherable guttural lows. Going back to Body Bag Bob, he does the lows here, and I think he is an incredible low guttural vocalist. I dig his vocal approach. His vocals are awesome. Definitely a lot more understandable and concise than the previous person who did the lows for Exhumed. I really enjoyed this guy's vocal work here. And of course, if you know Matt Harvey, he can definitely scream and wail and do his crazed kind of vocals very well. They definitely complement each other. That's something that you would expect on an Exhumed record, is a lot of vocal back and forth countering, and you get that with this new record. And I think it's probably the most entertaining aspect of this record is when Matt and Bob go at it with their vocal styles. It's pretty damn cool. So yeah, overall, I think this is a pretty damn good Exhumed record. I didn't like it as much as I did All Guts No Glory. I thought that album was and still is the best thing Exhumed have ever done. But as far as this album goes, I think it's pretty damn cool too. Pretty cool for the musicianship, the emphasis on melodies within the guitar work, the great vocal work from Matt Harvey and Body Bag Bob. Just some awesome stuff to be heard with this record. If you're an Exhumed fan, you will definitely have something to enjoy with this album. I don't know how you might feel about it, but I definitely think it's worth listening to and pretty much owning. So if I had to pick any favorite tracks, I would definitely have to say Coins Upon the Eyes, So Passes the Glory of Death, The Shape of Death's to Come, great track. The title track, Carrion Call, probably one of the fastest tracks on here is Carrion Call. Great lyric writing and a great hook to go along with it too. So this will be available on August the 6th. It should be available in most music store carriers. You can buy it from Relapse. You can buy the CD, LP. There's also a special edition with a poster, shirt, pins, buttons to very much complement this album's concept, which I think is pretty damn cool in its own right. So, again, the album is Necrocracy, and I apologize in advance if I happen to say that wrong, but oh well. It's the new album from Exhumed, scheduled to be released on August 6th through Relapse Records. Check it out, and for the time being, I'm going to give this a strong 8 out of 10. Pretty damn good Exhumed record. Didn't like it as much as All Guts, No Glory, but it's still Exhumed kicking ass and taking names, so the saw is the law. I'm going to conclude this review. Thanks all for watching. Thanks for checking out my channel, and until the next time, I'm Miho out.